Okay, so now, first things first, your body is consisting of more than 80% bacteria, 20% your own cells. So they all live in harmony. So your cells will not interfere with bacterial cells, and their cells don't interfere with you. Only when they interfere, it's called a disease. So then there's something called good bacteria, there's something bad bacteria. So the bacteria is bacteria, good or bad, is in terms of how it aids your cells and how it doesn't aid your cell. As simple as that. So to answer to your question, Aryu, it knows that this is mine and it knows this is not mine. There is no you to explain to that cell, this is your cell. Okay, they know it. And that's the reason Buddha uses only one single word, saying that Vijnana, nobody is there to teach it. It's a madness or a avidya to the Vijnana itself that it thinks that it has to be taught. There is nothing to be taught. In the Kajaniya Sutta, he explains that. What is Vijnana? That which knows. What does it know? It knows this is sweet, this is sour, this is salt, and all that. We just read it. We don't really investigate what is he trying to say. The knower of everything is Vijnana. It knows everything. There's nothing in this world which is not known to Vijnana. So, if somebody thinks that Vijnana is some kind of a material thing and is as deluded as a normal individual, it's not material. So, you have out of 6 dhatus, 5 are material and 1 is non-material. But without Vijnana, there can't be association of material. So what you are seeing as a condensed body is because of the Vijnana, not because of its own nature. So what is Buddha explaining in the Sutta of the Dhatu Vibhanga is that he says to Pukkarasati, consider the 6 elements or 6 dhatu, 6 quality. Look at it. The 5 are material, the 6th one is something different. And the problem with us, we oversee it. For whatever reason, we are yet to learn, or we couldn't penetrate, or whatever that can be reason, but that's all what it is. So we keep on overlooking something and going in detail on something which has to be overlooked. Like an example, we want to know more about cells. That has to be overlooked. That's not a key principle there. The principle here is a cell. Your body is made up of cells. Can you experience that? If this is yes, the portion where you feel I exist itself is gone, because each cell has consciousness. And the consciousness departs from that cell, where we say it as a dead cell. And we use it so comfortably. Dead cell. So what you get if you were to do like this, the powder is the dead cell. Now it was living, for that matter. So when you do like this, so many cells fall down, or so many hairs fall down, or from the body also it falls down. Why it falls down? Because no longer the consciousness is there. So it was held because of consciousness. Now the consciousness is departed, it just falls down. Right? That we can see. So if you sweep the floor, you will get most likely only the dead things than the living things which are coming out of you only, out of me, out of you, and out of all of us. So when we all sit together, the dirt is nothing but the Pathvi Dhatu coming out of it. That's it. So the consciousness had held it, and over the period of time, it gave up. So the bacterial cells, when they come together and they become a living organism independently, they start feeding on the food. Can be tissues, can be whatever. And they start eating and generating and producing and doing everything. So that's what I was trying to say. The Niraya, if somebody were to ask where it is, the hell doesn't mean you have something down there and you have to dig up. Is there in exactly the same place where you exist. Like Ashwin was asking me, is heaven or these world cycles are here or somewhere else? They all are here. You just can't see it. But you can right now see it if you have a wisdom. Or what's a wisdom? Panya. Is that can you not see that there's so many living organisms in water? When you drink water, it already has organisms. You can't see those organisms, fair. But I can't say there are no organisms at all. No matter how much I purify the water to drink, there would be organisms. So when it goes inside, the hydrochloric, otherwise there is no need for such a strong hydrochloric acid to be there. Even in animals it is there to kill all of this at once. But they are living beings. They are going to experience pain. Because Vijnana knows the pain, Vijnana knows the pleasure. So like what May sent yesterday on that video, the bacteria is trying to escape antibiotic. Now what is meaning of antibiotic? Antibiotic means which fights the bacteria. So the bacteria is no longer there. It's dead. So when there's no bacteria, then what will you do? That's what happens in the gut. This gut bacteria. So when you put an antibiotic, it not only kills this bacteria, it kills all the bacteria associated with it. So there's no longer you can digest any food. So you have stomach upset or you get into constipation because of antibiotic. Why? Because there are no longer any bacteria to eat the food. They cut the food pieces. So that's called probiotic. So if you take curds or you take something, they create probiotic. That means it creates a colony of bacteria which will infest on the stomach and they will wait. So when from the esophagus the food gets dropped into the stomach, they secrete and they cut it. And then when with the hydrochloric acid and all of this and the enzymes, so then it will extract. And the human cells will then take it inside. So that's a protein factory. So every cell has a protein factory. So it extracts protein. This cell is also extracting protein from this body. So, but there is a way of knowing. This cell knows this is mine and this is not mine. So it will identify and it will kill the one who is an intruder. Like that. So who knows? The Vijnana knows. So it's the Vijnana which knows everything. What is good also the Vijnana knows. What is bad also the Vijnana knows. There's no two people sitting there. It's just Vijnana. So in front of you, in front of me, there are so many bodies which are just Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, and the vijnana is the same. However, what impressions are coming in your mind is totally different than what impressions are coming in my mind, and hence we see difference. Other than that, it's a vijnana which knows. It says very clearly, one that cognizes. What does it cognize? It cognizes this is sweet. It cognizes it is sour. It cognizes it is salt. It cognizes it is pungent, like that. That's a knower of the field. So, knower of the field means what? Knower of the eye sense door, knower of the ear sense door, knower of the nose sense door, knower of the tongue sense door, knower of the body sense door, and knower of the mind sense door. It knows. So that is what the realms are. So based upon vijnana, how purified it is, it will take on a body to satisfy that. So that's the reason Buddha says in the Putta Mamsa Sutta and Vijnana Ahara, he says, one lash is sufficient. The person is beaten 300 in the morning, 300 in the afternoon, 300 in the evening. It's taking so much pain just to establish. It just wants to establish. So it's hit. Again it establishes. Again it is hit. Again it establishes. Again it is hit. What is this hitting? It means it loses. So it dies, basically. And again comes back. Again it's hit. Again it loses. Again it comes back. Because form, feelings, perception, preparations, and the established consciousness is treated as one single unit. If you were to go and ask the bacteria, do you reside here? And the answer is yes. If you were to correspond to the to talk to the bacteria, and then the bacteria would say, I stay in your house. If you think this is your house, sorry, it's my house. And there are bacteria which we call as yeast. It's a bacteria. You have to have a fermentation, otherwise it's not. Some of the food substance have to be fermented. A fermentation means there is bacteria. Right? So you just see all of those are living organisms. What our concept of Niraya is, there are human-like creatures who will go through the pain and pleasure cycle. No. These are creatures who will reside in the most worst of the condition in all the bodies. Yes.
I guess part of the impressions for Niraya comes from the sutta where Buddha say there's a warden and the wall and the burning and all that. Those are one type of Niraya, but this is a different type.
So we can see this Niraya which is equivalent to that. So when he says there is wardens of hell and all that, you look at from the time of the Buddha, when it made sense at that point in time, that they didn't have microscope, they didn't have so many equipment to say how it would look. So the best analogy he could give was is iron doors and heat it up and all that, because that will make you get scared. Oh my God, I don't want to be in that condition. Do you think the bacteria which enters into your body is not undergoing that kind of pain? When you take medicines, do you think it doesn't undergo the pain? It does. It in fact does. Yes, Ari.
Yeah, but I think you also said you had experiences of Niraya where there's fire burning. So that is also.
I did have. I'm just trying to make it for those people who can't see this. They can really see right here, right now. It's a Niraya, right? So we can see it. Like you see any animal, it is so doesn't know what it is doing. It just for food, it can do whatever it is. It can steal, it can kill, it can do everything. It can do sexual misconduct, can do anything. All the 10 immoral deeds can be seen. So the consciousness, what I'm trying to bring out is that consciousness, which could have got liberated, now has taken the body of an animal because its mind is animalistic. So the body grows on that. On that consciousness, the body grows, and hence it is asubha. Patikula manasikara pabba. Why it is particular, repulsive? Because you see they are not yours. It just grows on you, but it's not yours. Like, nobody said, Mustache came and told me, hey Vilas, I want to grow here. I don't even know what is coming out. What is this? What is this body? Just comes. Whatever is there in the seed is coming out. So the consciousness is just making the seed from the seed to the plant to the tree and then withering off and then going to the old age and then it falls down. That's it. But in the process, the consciousness is undergoing pain. It's not a person who is undergoing any pain there, it's just the consciousness having the pain. Okay, so now we come to the Brahma Loka. I think we covered yesterday on those other lokas. No, there's no point in talking about more on that. So there are 16 Brahma Lokas. Okay, and these Brahma Lokas are part of the Rupa Dhatu. So a place for an Anagami is also in the Rupa Dhatu. So it's a nice place to stay. Okay, now what is this Brahma Loka? Brahma is a person or the mind which is expanded. This expansion of the mind. Nothing other than that is Brahma. Now, when a person enters into the first jhana through vitakka vichara, so basically if the person were to do the discernment in a proper way, what to do, what not to do, and then keep on reflecting on that, enters into the first jhana with piti sukha ekagata being there. So vivicheva kamehi vivicheva akusala dhammehi, that means he is removing both. There is no kama and there is no kusala, there's akusala not being there. Why? Because the six things what we spoke about plus the 5, total 11, kama, they have to move out of that. It's kama sugati loka, 6 of them. So you have to come out of it. So when you come out of it, you are entering into a Brahma level. So Mahabrahma resides and also the Brahma Purohita. Okay. So then we can really see and then Brahma Parisajja. Now, what it really means, depending upon the level of observation, and the person has removed a lot of klesha, then the first thing he gets into is Parisajja. Parisajja means one who can stay with someone. So Brahma Parisajja means one who can stay along with Brahma. Maybe like his attendant or whatever we can say. That's the nearest equivalent we can think of. Okay. And then the second out of that is when become the Purohita, where I can advocate what should be done and what should not be done, and hence is called as Purohita. And then the Mahabrahma. So the server, these two of these beings serve the Mahabrahma. Okay. Yes.
How do you serve him? What does he need service for, the Mahabrahma?
Every king requires service. In the same way, Mahabrahma is the one who came into the mansion, so and hence anybody else who comes revere Mahabrahma.
Yeah, revere I can understand because he's, all
serving in whatever he is. So now another question comes, why he requires a service? Now that is beyond this topic because it makes no sense, because we have never seen a Brahma is in service and then he's working and then these two people are doing something to him and all that. But it generally, how it is said is that there is a service, and service doesn't mean that you require to give something. It's you are in vicinity of Mahabrahma, so you will do what he asks you to do, and that also is part of the service. Like somebody can say, oh, you're serving the Jesus, but he might not be doing anything except by being next to Jesus, like that. Just a colloquial way of saying that he's with that person, in service of. So don't take it in a literal term. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Mahabrahma, but I think in the sutta he would be doing this and that, right? I know the Brahma I forgot his name, asked the Buddha to teach. And that's a different Brahma, but these Brahma, I'm just thinking because they're in jhana, doesn't mean they're always just, doing one thing at a time. They can still be having intentions and doing those things, even being.
No, another problem. Good question. Another problem. When we say first jhana, it means the person is just sleeping. Because we generally think that being in jhana means closing your eyes. No. If you have joy and rapture happening right now, you are in first jhana. You might be doing whatever you are doing, it doesn't matter. Okay. So that portion is also not understood. If you have good vitakka, good vichara, savitakka, savichara, then you get joy, and because of joy there is rapture, and there is sukha, gladness, happiness, peace, whatever you want to call that as. But there is so nice, like that. So you are in that jhana. No matter what is happening outside, nothing is troubling you in any way. So at the dying moment, if the person can stay in that, then it is not a problem. Yes.
So I guess in other words, maybe Brahma or this jhana means the mind is not going after any sense objects, and there you call it jhana.
See, again I'm telling you, vivicheva kamehi, vivicheva akusala dhammehi, savitakka savichara, piti sukha, and then he says first jhana. See, if you are still in sensuality, then they can't be first jhana at all. So don't forget it. Or we shouldn't be forgetting it. Oh, first jhana means there's some sensual. Sensual means what? When I'm seeing, I'm getting attracted or repelled by that. No, there's no attraction, there is no repulsion, nothing of that kind. Otherwise, you're not in jhana. There are only two portions. Either you are in jhana or you are not in jhana. If you are in jhana, then there is nothing like you get attracted or repelled by anything. Yeah, Bobby, we waited for you for that Mara. Oh, start the meeting. Great. So, basically, we need to understand the first jhana means this. Bobby, able to hear?
Oh, yes, now, yes.
Sorry, Vilas, we were traveling actually, sorry.
No worries. So we stopped the session for some time for Bobby to arrive because he had asked a question about Mara.
Oh, yeah, sorry, okay. Sorry, thank you, Vilasji. I just, was a bit engaged with something. So
No, don't have to feel so bad. It's okay. So we continued on our journey onto first jhana.
Oh, first jhana, okay. So are we talking about Mara?
Yeah, if you're ready to listen to Mara, then you can.
Yes.
So in the Samyukta Nikaya 23.1, you can go and check it out. It talks about Mara. Okay, and then Mara is defined like this. What is Mara? So, Rupekho Radha Sati Maro Va Assa Mareta Va Yova Panamiyati. So what is said as Maro Va Assa Mareta, one who can kill. Va Yova Panamiyati, one who is being killed. So you should see Tasma Hitatvam Radha Rupam Maro Tipassa Mare Tipassa Niyati Passa Rogoti Passa Gandoti Passa Sallanti Passa Aghanti Passa Aghabhutanti Passa. That means you should see this form as Mara, the Maruti, one which kills. Every moment your body is changing, that means it is killing. The murder, that is Mariti, the Niyati, it's gone. Rogoti, Rogo means disease. Gandoti, like a boil. Salla, that means an arrow hit. Aghanti, misery. Agha Bhutanti, and one who is seeing into misery, being the misery or miserable. So for all the five, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. So if you were to go and understand about Mara, it means that there are five Maras. They are Klesha Mara, Khanda Mara, Mrityu or Mita Mara, Devaputta Mara, Abhisankara Mara. These are the five Maras. So what we are talking about, Vasavati, is the Devaputta Mara. And he is the personifier of the sensuality. That's the highest domain. It's called Mara's domain. So all the klesha is Mara. The five khanda which I just now read in 23.1 talking to Radha is another Mara. And then Devaputta Mara is the third kind of Mara. Okay. The Sankharas, Punyadi Sankhara, Apunyadi Sankhara, Aniljavi Sankhara is also part of Mara, and the death Mara, Mrityu. Okay. So, Klesha, Khanda, Mrityu, Devaputta, and then Abhisankhara. All these five are Mara. Out of that, in the Sugata is Devaputta Mara. And why? Because he controls, he para nimitta. He enjoys what others create. So what others create? They create the sight, they create the sound, they create the taste, they create the touch, they create the smell, they create the thought, and Mara takes all of it. Yes. No, I think you are missing the point, Adi. It's like you have sensuality. The owner of sensuality is Mara. If somebody can be said as an owner, who is owning the senses, it's the Mara. And that's the reason when Buddha comes, Mara comes in search of his oxen, Buddha says, I is yours, I consciousness is yours, the Rupa is yours, like that. Well, consider, but why complicate things when it can be very simple? It's like your RASIK chart. Which sutta name again, Bobby?
The one you were saying about explaining about Mara in Samyukta Nikaya or something.
I just now said, right? Mara Sutta 23.1.
23.1. Okay, no worries. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, 23.1. In that he talks about the five khandhas as Mara.
Okay. So sorry to interrupt. So that five khandhas is the qualities he was saying. It is not a being, but this one Devaputta is the being. That's what.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a being in this particular place. But other things are, he's talking about the khandhas.
No, I think we are not getting the point. The Mara is a domain. It's like if somebody were to ask, who is the Prime Minister of this country? Or who is the President of this country? Let's say Joe Biden is the President of America at this point in time. What is his range? His range is entire America. It doesn't matter whether he is in Illinois or whether he is in California, whether he is in whichever state, Texas or whatever. He owns all of it. He owns all of the people. We, the people of America, whatever is there in the passport. So that whole thing is owned by Joe Biden because he is the President of America at this point in time. So for 5 years in his rule, he rules everyone, either directly or indirectly. In the same way, Devaputta Mara has other four aspects to it. One as khandhas, one as marana, as death, and one as klesha. Okay? And then what? Then the sankhara. Because it's part of the five khandhas, but you have the abhisankhara. You want to do something, and when you want to do something, it comes under sensuality. And you are trying to do something which is going to affect you. So if it's going to affect you, that whatever gets affected is part of Mara. So when we say Mara, it is his domain, and there's a sutta where he says everything belongs to the domain of Mara. And he gives a beautiful example of a deer. One few deers will be grazing the land, and then what is that? A person who wanted to go and catch the deer will first understand what needs to be done. And then what happens is the deer doesn't see these people coming, so they start grazing. They take the first herd away and they train them to go and indulge with the other of the herds so that they can bring them to here. So then these people catch those. So Mara is like that. He will catch. He will put a net and catch. Yes, Bobby.
Yeah, so when Buddha was trying for that final enlightenment, and that night I think the Mara came to disturb him, and he was doing all sorts of things. And also it is explained, I think I read somewhere that Mara's 3 daughters were also trying to do different things. So I think I heard or read somewhere that these 3 daughters means the greed, hatred, and delusion. Or is it they are also beings,
They are not beings. No, they are not beings. Okay, now you have to understand where is Mara. Can you tell me, Bobby, where is Mara?
Yeah, in my personal experience, it is within me. It is the.
And everybody is the same.
Yeah, so maybe.
Whether you are a Samma Sambuddha or you are not a Samma Sambuddha, you are a Pacheka Buddha or not a Pacheka Buddha, in whatever combination you are in, you are yourself a Mara. Because you yourself will go into dissolution. So there is no person. So when he says the 3 daughters is because the tanha is craving. Craving is feminine. In fact, today in the Hindi, there is a person who is joined by name Kunda. She has asked me about why can't a woman cannot become a Brahma. The reason is there is craving in a feminine more than masculine. So the craving is always in feminine form, not in masculine form. Rati is again feminine. And in feminine, there's too much of attachment. They can't let go of their family. Because the being comes from their womb. So they can't forget it. That they have a son or a daughter or whatever it is. And since the being comes out from their body, they can't let it go. Simple. So who is more attached? Is the male attached or a female attached? The male is not attached, the female is attached. So due to that reason, the klesha, female is 100% klesha. Okay, now that is the reason in the sutta it says that when the final enlightening moment, Buddha was teased by the 3 daughters of Mara. So the Mara stayed where? Mara stayed in the consciousness of the Buddha. Now where is the Mara staying in our case? The Mara is staying in our consciousness because all the eyes, all the ear, all the nose, all the tongue, all the body, all the mind are the domain of Mara. Of all. Well, it's his domain. He's a king. Like what are you saying? King. So he can bring in anyone to stop you from going out. Any question?
Yeah, sorry. So that means in this Paramanti, like where the Mara is staying, all the members of them are kind of. I know it is in his domain, but are they having these qualities also to distract people from coming out of delusion? Like it's like this. Actually, the person with these beings, one being was always troubling Buddha in many ways. So, is it all the beings that in that RAM do the same thing, or?
I think, Bobby, you have to go through one sutta where Buddha explains about this guy coming and searching for his oxen. Have you gone through that sutta?
Sorry, one person searching for oxen, and yeah, I think I remember that, but vaguely that he was, he was getting some wealth or something in there, money.
Not wealth. He just comes in search of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think should be in Samyutta Nikaya only. Kasaka Sutta. So, Bobby, the thing what you and I or anyone has to be understanding here, when we say domain, the consciousness is the domain of Mara. The established consciousness of everyone is the domain of Mara. Now, what is the meaning of domain? Domain means like a complete boundary. So, if you are individually asking that whether he will trouble this person, that person, you are not understanding that the whole domain is his. So, if you want to go out of his domain, naturally he will pull you into the domain. Like a mother would pull its child from getting lost. So he wants you to continue the samsara. Till where? Till abhasara realm, also inclusive of it. Why? Because anyone trying to escape, he would put his net. Yes.
Yeah, I guess for practical sense, rather than thinking someone is trying to do it to us, maybe easier to think there's a lot of self-deception that's always happening. So we ourselves are finding many, all different reasons to not wanting to escape.
I just now said something on established consciousness. Anything that is established is Mara. Simple. And hence when in the Godika Sutta, when Godika commits suicide, Mara comes and informs the Buddha, your student is committing suicide. And he says, no problem, let him do it. And after the death of Godika, he sees whether there's consciousness, finding no consciousness which he can take claim of, comes back to the Buddha saying that I couldn't find it. From that statement, we should know what is he talking. That established consciousness establishes itself on some name and form, which is Mara. So being human is Mara. Being animal is Mara. Being a Deva is Mara. Got the point? It's Mara. There's nothing else than Mara. And that's the reason I just now read out that SN 23.1 Sutta, Mara Sutta, where he says Marati, Niyati, all of that is a word to say that what is Mara. So if you are losing a sight, if you are losing the sound, if you are losing the taste, touch, smell, and thought, moment by moment, you are being, that means that thing is cut by Mara. When the new thing comes, it is cut. Again a new thing comes, he's cutting it. So he says, Buddha says, watch it like Ganda and Salla and all of that. Rogoti, Gandoti, Salloti, like that. If we don't see eyes as like that, ears as like that, nose as like that, tongue is like that, body is like that, and mind itself is like that, there is no respite from Mara. It's not a person coming there and troubling someone. It's you yourself is getting troubled. Because you have Mara, who has taken custody of you. See, there is unestablished consciousness, there is established consciousness. This established consciousness is the Mara. So that takes name and form as an object and goes there. Any question, Bobby?
Yeah, like see, I understand there is always that it is in domains and our own qualities of whatever we are, deception and all these things are happening, but still more there is the Mara is living in this particular, so that is a personal form, right? It is an identified form of this one. So I'm telling you this. So one thing is in me, I understood, but what is the characteristics of that person? What the person is doing?
The person owns everything, Bobby. I'm telling you again and again. He owns it. It's just like you going to the owner and saying that what does he do? He is owning it. It's like you are staying at a rented property and you're asking what does he have? He has the house which you are residing. So he owns you in that way.
Okay, yeah. I think yes.
Is it mean that all the senses or whatever the senses or what we have is owner is a Mara?
Yes.
And where I think everybody means me or Bobby or what I understood from maybe not correct also, but we try to create a Mara as a some human some human being or somebody God in the heaven, and then we saying the consciousness is a Mara. So that's why the confusion start. But now we understood we rented all the consciousness from the Mara. So whatever the pain. Pancha Khanda, Upadan Khanda, Pancha Upadan Khanda, it's a Mara's property. We use it and we feel attracted about it, and that's make our life miserable.
Correct. So Vasavatti, see, first and foremost, I understand the confusion. What Bobby is asking also I am able to understand. So now Nimmana Rati. What is Nimmana Rati? Nimmana means Nirmana, creation. Rati means enjoyer. So you create something and you enjoy. You create a product or you create something and you enjoy it. So the Nimmana Rati Deva is one who enjoys the creation. But there is a Deva who regulates, enjoys in others' creation. That is Para Nimmana Rati Deva. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what is the meaning of this? Why it is called Para Nimmana Rati? Because he doesn't create anything. Okay.
Or paranimitta.
Yeah, wait. Now, Nimmana Rati, he is not creating anything. So, Paranimmana Rati, it is, if he is where to look at others' creation and where to enjoy, that it becomes Paranimitta Rati or Nimmana Rati. Nimitta is the symbolization. So now the difference between the nirmana, that is nimmana, creation, versus nimitta, symbolization, is that in the first, that being creates, in the second, that being only symbolizes. Vasavatti, vasa is to stay, vatti is to visualize, oversee, like that. So para nimitta vasavatti deva is a deva who have power over others' creations because they are staying there. Vasa means to stay. Vatti is to overlook. So para nimitta, just with the nimitta of others, and others who have created it, they own it. They have power over those other people's or other beings' creation, whatever they have created. Now the question comes, how did they get that? How did they get this power? Because they have done so much of dana and moral purity and they are able to get into the jhanas. Now it looks very stupid that how they can be in jhana. Now, if they can't be in jhana, they can't be in control of other people thing. So they will be having jhana. But in the Brahma realm, it is more jhana. But this is the last of the highest portion of the kama. So they too have absorptions, they too are in jhana. Okay. So they enjoy others' creation and they promote others to keep on creating because they enjoy it. So the worst part what we are doing now, we are trying to hate Mara. It's nothing that you can do because this is a domain of Mara. So you are doing for Mara. You are creating everything for Mara, if we were to put that way. How? You take a product. There will be instant dissatisfaction. So you have to come out with a new vehicle, new machinery, new this, new that, new title, new whatever. Right? So you will basically, that's the reason Buddha calls this a 10 armies of Mara. Because he keep on creating for him, so to say. You are endlessly creating for Mara. And he will cut it. Then new one you create. That he cuts it. Then the new one you create. He cuts it. Then a new one you create. Isn't it that what is happening? You see something through the eye, it's gone. Then you hear something through the sound, it's gone. You taste something in the tongue, it's gone. You smell something, it's gone. You touch something, it's gone. You think something, that's gone. Because they are domain of Mara. He's the owner. So paranimitta is just by the symbol, it's his property. And hence Buddha keeps on giving those similes saying that you are in the domain of Mara, be careful, don't go there, don't be heedless, you are literally doing for Mara. Whatever you say you are doing for Mara. I have a wife, superb, you are in the clutches of Mara. I'm staying in America, very good, you are in Mara. I'm staying in India, very good, you are in Mara. No, I'm in Australia, very good, you are in Mara. Mara wants you to enjoy that. He's not saying don't enjoy. I want you to enjoy more and more because I'm getting enjoyment out of your enjoyment. I don't want you to be dissatisfied or satisfied. I want you to do what I want you to do, is to keep on creating something for me. So I've given you 5 senses. Create it for me. But I own it. It's not yours. And the established consciousness itself is Mara. So Bobby, Ashwin, did you get some clarity on this?
Yeah, for me it's okay. Bobby,
Bobby,
Thank you, Virashi. I think there is some clarity now. But this is not related to this question, this one. But in Hinduism, I heard somewhere that this somebody who creates all these heavenly mansions and everything. I don't know what his name. Maybe Vishwakarma or something. I don't know. Like. So
yes.
is he living in some of this, where the creations are happening, or
Even in
this Vasavati is some kind of name for that person, or no?
no, even in the Buddha, this one also is in Sanskrit Vishwakarma, and in the Pali it is Visakarma. So these both are same. Okay, that is in the heavens. Whatever we are now talking in the Kama Sugati Loka only. So the terms used might be slightly different, but the meaning remains the same. So it's there is a sutta where Buddha talks about phonology and all, that is phonetics and language in phrase and in meaning. So in the Atha and the Vyanjana. So it's something like that between the Hindu scriptures and the Buddhist scriptures. It's same in phrase but different in, that is, Vyanjana is the same, Atha in one way is different. It's same in the Atha but Vyanjana is different. Okay, Ashwin, bye. So that's how we need to see it. So when we say Mara, when we say Vishwakarma, all of that, it means there's an architect. Who is an architect? Architect is the person who creates all palaces, all everything, including the 33 kings. Sorry, what is that? God of 33, Sakka, or called Devendra. Deva Indra in Pali, Devendra in Sanskrit is referred to the same person. In Sanskrit it's called Sakra, and in Pali Sakka. In Pali Inda, and in there's a sutta called Inda Sutta, by the way. If you want to read about who is Inda, there's a Inda Sutta itself. So there is in Sanskrit Indra. Okay. Now, by the way, when we see these two, it is same in Atha and different in Vyanjana. And where does this Vishwakarma reside? He resides in the Tavatimsa, not in this Vasavati realm. He is part of Inda, ministry of Inda. Vaijayanti Palace was built through Vishwakarma. There's one sutta on Vaijayanti Palace which Moggallana shakes it. In that you will find Vishwakarma. Like the seven Saptarshi, and Buddha calls them a Saptarishi. What we call Saptarishi in Sanskrit is Saptarishi. So Angirasa, he says Angirasa. Vishwamitra, Vesamitra in Pali. Bharadwaja in Sanskrit, Bharadwaja. Jamadagni, Jamadaggi. Okay. Where this is there, if this question is asked, all Brahmana Varga suttas, if you study, he will talk about in Tevijja Sutta and so many suttas, he talks about the seven sages or seven rishis who wrote or who contributed into the Vedas. He says the Rig, Sama, Yaju are the Veda, one should know. But do you know why it is like that? Have you asked your the previous generation and their generation and their generation and their generation why they ever did this? Or are you reciting it just because you've been said so? And they all say we have been said so. And that's the problem. It's not that the Satta Rishis did not say or did not know what is Veda. So they were the generators of the hymns or the mantra in Pali, mantra in Sanskrit. And he says mantra. And Sanskrit is not called Sanskrit, by the way, it's called Chandas. It was later made it as Sanskrit because it's from a word which says Samskrita, which means perfectly established. So then after English came, it became Sanskrit. There's nothing called as Sanskrit. Samskritam, perfectly established. Okay. And from that comes a root word Swayambhu. Swayambhu means self-manifested. Swayam means self. Swayambhu means self-manifested. So Samskritam, Samskritam, good, established, is having the phonetic, that is grammar, Vyakarana in Pali, Vyakarana in Sanskrit or Samskrita, and then Chandas is the meter. Why Buddha calls it as Chandas is because it exactly says how it should be said. And Gatha, for that all that matters, is from Samskritam. And in whatever he says, Gathaya Ajha Bhasi, Ajha means perfected, Bhasi is to say. So Gatha has to be said in a perfected way. So I can't be reciting something out of my own wish. It has to fit into the meter. And since Pali doesn't have meter, the Buddha says no meter because it shouldn't be so Vyakarana, that is so much of Vyakarana, and so much of Vyanjana, which is Vyanjana in Sanskrit. Means that how a particular alphabet fits in where, the words fit where. So much of tightness is not required. But Samskrita is for that, which tightly coupled. Okay. So basically why I digressed into this is that we need to know how the domain starts and what relations are there between the Hindu scriptures and the Buddhist scriptures and the Jain scriptures. All the three have so much closeness, there is little differences. Okay. But if we start going on the wrong direction, saying that is Hinduism, this is thisism, and that is thatism, we have literally missed out because all the three talk the same. If you read the Jain Agamas and you read the Buddha, it's little bit of changes, here and there changes. In some Agamas, Nigantanatha Putta explanation is far superior than even what Buddha talks about. You get even more clarity by reading the Jain Agamas than going by the Buddha Suttas. Or Abhidhamma looks trash in front of Jain Agamas. You feel, oh, which stupid guy would look at these many chittas if you really get into the Agamas. So we need to see that everybody, that is what we call as Eastern religion or Eastern religious system consisting of Upanishad, Vedas as one, Buddha in his Sutta is another one, and then the Agamas of the Nigantanatha Putta, Mahavira is another one. If you see there, if you contrast and see what is same and what is not same, if we were to take the similarities, All the three talk about removing klesha. All the three. Simple. All the three talk about getting out of Mara. So in Sanskrit it's called Marana. Even in Kannada it is called Marana. So Mara is something which we use it, and in Hindi also it is Mara, Margya, Mara. So that Mara word is everywhere. In all Indian languages, Mara means one who kills, one who is dead, one who is dying, or whatever it is. So it's something to do with death. Mara. Okay. Now Mara is not an imported word. Mara is there in the scriptures of Upanishad. Mara is there in Jain. Mara is also there in Buddha. So similarity wise, all the three talk about the same one, that is coming out of birth and death cycle. All the three. Now if I go by the agamas of Nigantanatha Putta, he concentrates more on making this body, which is alien, take more trouble, so that every hair represent one karma. Actually it's true. The number of hairs you have on your body represent each karma you have made. So it's not for adoration. It's a lousy thing which is growing on this. So as much karma as you want to see, so much of hairs. And those people even don't have hairs, have pores. So each pore means one karma. Okay. So there are millions of pores in the human body and animal body, every body. So you have that much karma. So what is the message from Nigantanatha Putta is ahimsa paramo dharmaha. Non-violence. That can only liberate you out of the suffering. And what does Buddha says? Panatipata. What does the scriptures of Hindus says or the Upanishad say? Don't kill. Don't cut life. Because you're going to take bad karma by doing so. All the three say the same. Now, his way of coming is from karma, whereas Buddha way of coming is from the klesha. And the Upanishadic view is from coming from top. You understand what is the reality and remove the illusion. What Buddha says is that you see the dukkha and remove the dukkha. Don't worry about what is on top, because you'll get attached to it. No attachment. Come out of it. And what does Nigantanatha Putta says? He says, take as much trouble in this life to end further suffering. So all the three say the same in different way. Now what is difference? Yeah, wait a second, Bobby. What's the difference? The difference here is that in the Upanishadic, it starts from top. In the Buddha teaching, it starts from bottom, which is the dukkha, which is the right way of doing things, than explaining what is divine. That you can keep on explaining forever. And people wouldn't get it anyway, any good way. And what is about Jain? Troubling yourself. So what Buddha then came into conclusion is, Isarvada will make you keep on having rebirth in one domain or the other domain, which is Mara. The other one, that is Uchchedavada, will make you not get into anything that is good. So you will get into a stage where you think the body ended, everything ends. So the only thing for liberation is the middle path. Ariyattangika Magga. So that's how we can see that the tradition, that the religion, or calling religion is a bad word of the Eastern philosophies. So it's better to see that the, like what Buddha says, Chandas meter is good in one way, but it brings in attachment. Whereas he says, my teaching does not bring attachment, it brings in liberation. Yeah, Bobby, go ahead.
Vilashi, like you are saying all the similarities of in all this Jain, Hindu, and Buddha's teaching, and how they explain. And you said some of the Jain scriptures, the text may be talking more profoundly than even Buddha. So then, why in that case, that in some Buddhist suttas, this Niganta Radhabutta is considered as a very kind of inferior in wisdom, and also to the extent that he spit blood at some stage, it seems. So in the Ubali Sutta and all, he spit blood because he lost one of his disciples. So why this is so much of he is considered as a very not very knowledgeable person according to Buddha's suttas.
Even if you read some of the Agamas, you will get to see that Buddha is very inferior to Niganta Putta. But anyway, if you were to read the philosophy, the complete teaching, it's called as metaphysics in English, or the what we can say is that tattva in Pali Sanskrit is that if you understand the philosophy, you will never have this. But if you go by this, you start to feel that they are inferior or somebody is inferior. Niganta Putta's way of doing is inferior in many cases because he stuck only to the karma philosophy. He couldn't go beyond it. Meaning there are three philosophies people get into, like explained in the Titayatana Sutta. One is that Isaravada. Second one, everything is by karma, and the third one is random causes. And Buddha rejects all the three. Because he rejects all the three, the Jain philosophy is considered inferior. And since he refutes the claim of the Vedic, saying that there's a God who is doing all of this, and he proved through Aganna Sutta, or the foremost, Agraja, that what is the foremost, and he proved how beings come and how beings go. So he rejects the Upanishadic way of looking at there's a God who is doing everything. So Iswaravada or Isaravada or the karma as the main thing or the random causes, he rejects all the three. And since he rejects all the three, he considers all of these three, ajivikas who are materialistic, the people who believe in a God as a primordial thing which created, and the karma. So he says all the three are wrong. And hence in the suttas, they show Niganta Putta inferior to the Buddha. And also many of the Brahmins who came and spoke to Buddha, he shows them the inferiority of it, meaning saying that where there are issues. And hence they started following what Buddha is saying. Like Upali from the Jain scriptures, Bharadwaja and other people, Phaguna, there is a biggest scholar, Phaguna, and he follows the Buddha. And ascetic Vachchagotta, he has so many things to his credit, and he follows the Buddha. Like that, there are many people who follow the Buddha after looking the flaws of what they were following. So in that way, what Sutta says is like that. In some cases, in the Agamas, you will see a lot of Buddhists getting beaten up by the Jain. And in fact, is there in Sutta also, where they come and meet and they can't answer, and they come back to Buddha saying that we couldn't answer. Tell us next time what we should answer. So if you read that Agama, you will come to see how they laughed at them. Okay, so this is going to be there, Bobby. Yes, Ariu.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because Buddha does not explain on everything, right? He's very selective on what he explained, like just a few leaves versus the forest. But where Buddha does not want to explain, maybe, other tradition have a more elaborate explanation. In that case, it's superior, but does not mean it the whole philosophy is more superior or anything.
Nothing. It's just a philosophy. If you study the philosophy, you will not find any kind of distortion in any one of the three. It's only about the approach which is different, and easiness. Ease of use is in Buddha teaching, and it's complete. And that's the reason he talks about Kalyana, which is the best. So beginning is the good, the middle is the good, Madhya Kalyana and Ante like that. Because how he begins, how he makes it, and how he ends it is perfect. There's nobody can counter him. Yes, Eddie.
No, I was just thinking because I have a friend who's a good meditator who used to be my manager, and his approach is always on kamma. He also always want to eliminate the root of his reactivity. He will try to go to the memories and past lives and find the roots of it and try to eliminate from there. But again, as it comes up, he will try to trace it every time like that. So overall, I see his approach is very much on kamma, right? But it's a different approach. It takes a lot of effort because it keeps on having to trace, and always something little bit there, here and there. So he has to repeatedly doing that. It seems more work. Even when he's very good meditator, if you use Buddha's method, it may be much faster, let's say.
Exactly. So when I'm going to meet your manager, it will be an interesting experience because I can tell him the flaws of all the three, right? So I will see how it affects, how it takes shape. So basically, Aganna Sutta is also there. Aganna is there in Upanishad as Agraja, and also is there in Jain scriptures. It's nothing to do with only Buddha found it out, but the way Buddha finds it is amazing than an assumption made elsewhere. In Buddha teaching, two things are not there. Imagination, one. Two is assumptions. There's nothing to assume. There's nothing to imagine. Whereas in the Upanishad, there's an assumption, but there's no imagination. But in the Jain scriptures, it starts with imagination and cuts the assumption.
स्वामी येईल ना दात येत आहे तुला आता ब्रश करून घे
So basically, you need to see it from where, how each one of these scriptures talk about, and then you will be surprised that wow, so much of wealth of information is there. So first thing we need to do is not to hate anything and not to take anything. Just take it to see how they stand. That's the right approach which Buddha used. We need to use the same kind of approach. Because everything is a domain of Mara. Please understand that. You trying to find an escape path is itself the domain of Mara, and you cannot escape. So in that we need to find a solution. The solution is not to get attached to any of the traditions, any of the systems, any of the things, including Buddha Dhamma. That's the reason Buddha asked this question in the Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta. Are you holding my teaching like a raft on your shoulder? And if the answer is yes, then you have not understood my teaching. But because if you have understood like a raft and to be used only for crossing the river, then you have understood my teaching correctly. The problem with Mara is that we catch it. Mine. Buddha Dhamma is mine. Then you had it. Enjoy. It's yours. Mara. So Vasavatti Loka is one who enjoys in others' creation. So Mara is the one who enjoys in others' creation. Bobby, have any question further on this?
It's good, Badashi. Thank you.
Sure. Harry, you have anything? Otherwise, we'll stop. Now 10 o'clock people will come here in the meeting room. 6 more minutes left. So if anybody having any questions, anything to discuss, we can. So don't get involved in any tradition, don't get involved in anything like in the Kalama Sutta, perfect Sutta. Don't get involved in anything. Just take the Dhamma. Don't take tradition. Don't take my teacher so and so said so. It's a Mara. Don't say that my tradition says so. Mara. Everything is Mara. The domain of Mara is illusion. You get illusion just by saying, I'm following so and so. Mara. Caught up in Mara. So you're not an Australian, you're not an Indian, you're not an American, you're no one. Because that is Mara. Yes, conventionally you're an American. So when I go to meet Aryu, I'm an Indian meeting an American. Okay. But I'm neither an Indian meeting an American. I've got nothing to do with meeting an American. And by the way, Aryu is not Chinese either, nor I'm Indian. But
It's always Mara meeting another Mara.
exactly, you got it. Okay, good day to everyone and good night, Aryu, and good evening or good afternoon, Bobby.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, bye-bye.